Hey guys, John Paulamy here, Actionable Intelligence. I wanted to make a video about some lessons that I learned from my 40-year working life. I'm going to do this in a couple parts. As you well know by now, I'm transitioning from full-time work to uh, semi-retirement. And I wanted to put out some life lessons, some lessons that served me well, and I think that are basic, but I found that I started seeing a lot of people not understanding these or not having these in their life. And I see a lot of young people coming up and they seem to be discouraged about how to be successful, if they can be successful, if they can have the life that they want. And I would say to you that, I'm somebody that came out of high school and basically with no advantages and basically just from hard work and trying to be living by a certain set of principles, of course making many mistakes along the way, no one's perfect, but got myself into a situation where at the end of my career, I mean, I was a director of construction, I've run major power plants, I've been in positions of authority and accountability over billions of dollars in assets. And so, and I don't consider myself to be some super genius. I think a lot of it is just tenacity and certain virtues that I learned growing up or were taught to me by mentors. And I think that I'm just trying to put this out there. You may not find this valuable. I don't know. Tell me in the show note in the comment section. This may just be, hey, boomer, that doesn't apply anymore. What have you? I don't know. But I just wanted to go over a few things that I think that were helpful to me. I'm going to do this in part one and part two, whatever. Short video just to kind of, some life lessons that worked for me. So this is something that I didn't know at first, but I learned, a mentor imparted onto me. Your career, your working life, you know, treat it like a brand. What do I mean by a brand? I have the symbol here for Toyota. Toyota, when you see it or hear it, it evokes a certain uh, response. When you say Toyota, what does it mean to me? Okay, quality, fuel efficiency, reliability. That's what I think when I think about Toyota. And Toyota knows that. And Toyota is always ranked as one of the, highest, best brands out there in the car industry. And they've built that brand over time and they cultivate it and they protect it. And that's what you should do with your career. That's what you should do with your life. You should strive to be uh, looked at by other people as, a stand-up person. Okay. Look, everybody's going to make mistakes in their life. Everybody's not going to be on their game every single day. There's going to be ups and downs in life that you have to go through. But I think that if you try to strive to certain virtues, you will find that these things compound over time and they will give you an advantage over many people that don't have them. I'm actually shocked about how many people don't understand some of the things that I'm getting ready to go over with you in this video. First of all, show up on time. You can't win if you're not in the game. I can't tell you how many times I've had people just don't show up on time for work. Okay. And, once or twice is one thing, but if you make it a habit to not show up on work, you're not going to be considered reliable. People are running a business and time is money, and it's a distraction if you are constantly not coming to work on time. It's showing that you don't really care. You may care in your own mind, but you're creating a narrative, a perception of you in other people's mind. Again, you are damaging your brand. Your brand that you're being created is you're unreliable you're disrespectful. And so don't do that. In the Navy, we used to have to stand 4-hour watches, and you wouldn't arrive, like say your watch was from noon to 4 in the afternoon down in the engine room. You don't show up at 11:59 or 12:01. You show up at 11:45, 15 minutes early, relieve the watch. Why? Because you want to turn over. You want to be prepared. You don't want to just come down there and, with sleep in your eyes or whatever and distracted. This is important what you're doing. So you should strive to be early, slightly early. Don't be late if you can avoid it. Never be late for an interview, for the job, what have you. It's just people do not like it. I'm going to give some quotes along the way here. And one of the quotes I got, this is from a man named Arthur Goiterman. And I like this because it says this: a man consumes the time you make him wait in thinking of your faults, so don't be late. And that makes sense, right? If you're late to an interview, right off the bat, you're probably not going to get the job. And people are late sometimes. I mean, stuff happens in life. I'm talking about people make this a habit. Okay. I've had people that wanted a job, that applied for a job. We flew them in, we got them a ticket and a hotel room to come down the night before to be prepared to come in, and they don't even show up, take the flight and show up, and they don't call. I mean, this is not helpful to you. I make mental notes of who these people are. I will not ever hire them again. And you'll be surprised about how often in certain industries you run into the same people. And so if you've damaged your brand like that, you won't, I think, you may not be able to recover at some point. Come to work on time, show up on time. It's easy. It requires no skill except for getting up and preparing. That's what you're conveying to people, that you're prepared, that you at least can get up and show up. Believe me, there's so many people that don't do this. It's a layup. So the second thing here, I show this sheepdog or guard dog of flock animals. These are goats. And what am I trying to convey here? Well, the title of the slide is "Be Trustworthy and Reliable." Many people aren't. And you're going to see that a lot of the stuff kind of uh, tie together, right? And I had a quote here by Albert Einstein. He said, going with this concept of being truthful and reliable. He said, "Whoever is careless with the truth in small matters cannot be trusted in important affairs." And that's exactly right. If you are demonstrating that you're not a trustworthy person or you're not a reliable person, these are easy things to do, right? And if you can't do this on small things, I'll give you an example. We have so many, like in construction, we have so many people that can't seem to just wear their personal protective protection, like their hard hat or their safety glasses. I mean, this is safety vests. This is certain things that are required on a job site. And you will run into people that can't do this. And so you'll keep bringing it up in the morning meetings, and people will be like, okay, yeah, we'll talk to them. But what I try to take a next level and say, look, guys, if people can't do simple things and follow simple instructions, like putting on their safety glasses and hard hat before they go to the work face, then how can I trust them to be competent to do the tasks that they're asked to do that may be very technical, or may be in a situation where if they don't follow the rules exactly or follow the steps exactly, you can have a bad outcome. I can't. And a lot of people can't seem to grasp that. I found that out. They say, well, what's the big deal? Well, what's the big deal? I mean, you can't be trusted. Another thing is, when you're in business or in life in general, don't lie to people. Bad things are going to happen. Unforeseen outcomes are going to happen. Just be forthright with your business partners, with your colleagues, with whoever you're dealing with in life, because the truth always outs in the end. And if you don't tell the truth, most people understand that bad things happen or bad outcomes happen or unforeseen things happen. And so they're willing to work through it because it happens all the time. But if something bad happens and then you cover it up or lie about it, I mean, you've just destroyed the trust forever. You're not going to be trusted ever again. And so how can you be, again, it goes back to your branding. I mean, you're tarnishing your brand. Don't do that. I say many people aren't trustworthy and reliable. I mean, you'd be surprised. A large majority of people are not trustworthy and reliable people. So this slide, I show a couple of airline pilots. I say, strive for competence. There is a shortage of competence in the world today. And so I have a quote for each one of these. This is from Jon Stewart, the comedian. He says, love what you do, get good at it. Competence is a rare commodity in this day and age, and let the chips fall where they may. That's exactly right. So this is one thing that I've noticed quite a bit, that we have a dearth of competence in this day and age. People don't seem to care that they don't really know what they're doing. And yet you have people say stuff, well, just fake it till you make it. um, you know, you'll figure it out, or just say yes and we'll figure it out. We'll go Google it. You know, your brand, if you are acknowledged as an expert or a subject matter expert in a field and people believe that and think that of you, it's going to be very, very good for your career because quite a few people aren't competent. And so this commands respect, it commands higher earnings, it commands higher positions. Um, Again, we show these airline pilots. Do you want to get on a plane that's being flown by guys that are incompetent? I don't. And so they have a lot of training and procedures that they have to follow and do things a certain way every time so that they deliver people safely. This is why air travel is so, well, notwithstanding the recent incidents, but why it's the safest form of transportation. You know, you are statistically more likely to die in a car accident on the way to the airport than the actual flight. And so strive for competence because the shortage is there, and that shortage of competence has value. Once you should spend extra time in your field being the best you can in your field. Okay. This is where it comes back to what I've said. If you don't understand something, you can go study it on your off time. You can get the tech manuals. You can get industry publications. You can go back to school. You can get certifications. You should do that. Okay. And if you do that, you are demonstrating that, not to be credentialed, there's a difference between credentialism and competence. Credentialism is that you went through courses of study and you've attained certain academic achievements, but competence is the ability to apply your knowledge and experience in a way that is beneficial to the team or to getting a positive outcome. And if you can do that, I think you'll find that you're going to come in. This is how I rapidly advanced through the industry that I did without a lot of the same. I didn't have an MBA. I didn't have an engineering degree, but I was still a plant manager. And I strove to be the best plant manager I could and be competent, okay, and put the extra time in and care. Somebody told me one time, one of my mentors, when I first became a manager of a very small power plant, to see what I guess they wanted to test me out to see what I would do. I was constantly calling downtown to my general manager asking questions because I was a little bit nervous and I probably had a little bit of self-confidence issues at that time. I was younger, but I was an up-and-coming guy. And he's like, look, you can't keep calling me every day about every little thing. We put you down there because we think that you can do the job. My advice to you is this: when you make a decision out there, make the decision like it was your own business, like it was you own that 100%, and that you'll probably make the right decisions. Occasionally you're going to make a bad decision and we'll just get through it, okay? But if you're trying to make the right decisions, do the best thing, and trying to be competent, then you know good outcomes are going to happen. And so that's what ended up happening. And we had issues where we ran into things I wasn't sure about. So what did I do? I got the experts in there. We had subject matter experts, or I went out and found them and we solved the problems. And that's what people expect you to do. I mean, one of the things in the nuclear Navy, you're going to get asked questions all the time, or even anywhere. You're going to get asked some stat by some officer, kind of drill you. What's this parameter or whatever. Well, the answer isn't, you don't just BS some answer. It's perfectly all right to be in a meeting and somebody asks you a question. You say, well, I don't know the answer to that question, but you write it down and say, but I will find out the answer and get back to you. People respect that. Okay. Now, if you're doing that all the time, well, that's a different story, but you're not going to know everything about everything. So be as competent as you can be in your field and be a standout. Again, that goes back to your brand. So this is kind of the last one I think for this part one. Like I said, I wanted to keep this a little bit manageable so it could be listened to in pieces. It takes a lifetime to build a reputation and one bad decision to destroy it. This is a Warren Buffett quote. He says something similar. It says, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation, 5 minutes to ruin it." If you think about that, you'll do things differently. And so, again, these things kind of overlap and tie together, right? About being trustworthy, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, try to do things in the correct manner. And you'd be surprised about how many people don't understand this. You know, again, if you don't show up after you said you were going to do something, you don't show up for the interview. Well, you haven't even started building the wall. I mean, you're just done right then. Or if you have done well for 20 years and then you decide that, you're going to steal from the company or something like this, or start lying about something, you're going to destroy the reputation. And once that wall's knocked down of trust, it's very difficult to rebuild it. People are very reluctant in business. Once you lie or cheat or something like this, or don't deliver, they're very reluctant to go back to the well again. And so this is part of your branding. You want to protect this is what I'm talking about, protecting your brand. Okay. Some things are going to happen that are out of your control, and you're going to think, well, I don't want this person to think bad of me. I don't want to disappoint this customer. I don't want this. So I'm just going to not tell the whole story. There's a thing about lying by commission and omission. Lying by commission is you just flat out lie about something. Omission is that you withhold information that is relevant because it's not, good for you to have that information out there. Let's put it that way. Just don't do these things. It is what it is. Okay. Um, and I think if you look at some of these things, they seem obvious. And I just assumed that everybody had been taught these things because I had parents and grandparents that taught me this. I had mentors that taught me this. I saw successful people and tried to emulate them that were mentors of mine. And these are things that I thought everybody knew. But I have found out over my working career and in life in general that this is not the case. Okay. I mean, I kind of think I knew that subconsciously, but as I got older and wiser, it became obvious to me. And so these are things, obviously, these are simple things, I think. And I think, again, I'll try to make additional videos if there's interest in it. But I think that, this idea that you can't be successful nowadays. I mean, there's $28 trillion a year raining down on the US economy, and you can't be successful in this environment. A lot of it is just going to be hard work and applying certain virtues that other people aren't doing. I mean, you have every advantage. You have high-speed internet. You have the ability to work remotely. You have the ability to move around in the U.S. You have, capital is relatively, it's out there. You can start businesses with no money. And if you apply certain virtues as you're doing this, and I think you can be successful. I think that you can go into a business and bring value to a business and be perceived, and not only perceived, but known as a reliable, trustworthy, productive person. And I think that in most cases will pay dividends. Yes, there are bad actors out there that are going to be your boss. You're going to run into those. And I'll get into that in another video. But in general, these are the fundamental base foundational virtues that I think will help put you head and shoulders above other people. So that's it for this video. Maybe you find this useful. Maybe you just think, well, this boomer's just out there saying stuff. I'm kind of curious in the comments. I'll be happy to do additional videos. Again, these are things that help me be successful, and interested to hear what you all think about it. Okay, that's it for this one. Hope to talk to you soon. Thank you.